What's up, MetaNerdz? This video is all about how BlasTech became the primary weapons manufacturer for the Clone Army and for Palpatine's Empire. When the Trade Federation put in place their blockade on Naboo, and subsequently deployed battle droids and droid starfighters to kill Gungans and the humans of that planet, most of the galaxy was watching in horror. I say most, because although this was a shock to civilians, many senators and major businesses were aware of the growing tensions between the core worlds and the Mid and Outer Rim. Many worried it would lead to a secession, which was big credits for anyone that could provide the tools of war. There were three main blaster companies in the galaxy at this time: BlasTech Industries, Mersun Munitions, and Surosub. By looking at their background and their locations, you can see why BlasTech would end up securing this incredibly lucrative Clone Army contract, as Surosub was based on Sullust, far off in the Outer Rim, while Mersun was heavily connected to the corporate sector, another Outer Rim location, but this area of space was also independent from the Republic. If war was set to break out, you could be sure that the Outer Rim would make up the bulk of these seceding worlds, so relying on an Outer Rim manufacturer would be hazardous in either case, but especially with Mersun, who were already under the control of a separate government, and so it would be possible that they could cripple the Republic by providing flawed weapons, or just cutting off the clones altogether at some crucial part during the war, in order to try and grab more power. Surosub produced things like the S5 Heavy Blaster Pistol and the ELG-3A, which ended up being used by the Republic's allies on Naboo, but they didn't directly score any contracts for the Clone Army. Mersun would produce some unique weapons for the Republic, most notably the Z6 rotary gun, but nothing that was crucial to the war effort. BlasTech, however, was based on Coruscant, ensuring that when war broke out, they would remain loyal to the Republic, and supply lines from their facilities could be more easily secured. Though the Clone Army was Plagueis' idea, Palpatine and Darth Tyrannus would go about continuing this project to its completion, informing the Kaminoans along the way. Clone armor was produced in-house from Kaminoan Armorsmiths Limited, but they allocated a majority of their credits for ships and vehicles to Kuat Drive Yards and its subsidiary Rathana Heavy Engineering, while BlasTech was surprised with millions of orders for their DC-15A, DC-15S, DC-17, and even N-20 Baradium Core Thermal Detonators. These four weapons would meet troopers' roles in a variety of situations, and were the four most crucial weapons for any army. The Z6 was powerful, but losing it if Mersun was captured by the CIS would not cripple the clone troopers. Going with BlasTech ensured that your infantry rifle, carbine, sidearm, and explosives were all from the most secure of your weapons manufacturing options. With the Republic's victory in the Clone Wars, BlasTech had helped give rise to the Empire, which almost cost them their company, with Palpatine's demands that they only sell weapons exclusively to the Imperial military. To show you just how powerful these weapon manufacturers were, how much influence they still wielded even under an Emperor, BlasTech was able to refuse this exclusivity deal. They made the new main blaster of the armed forces, replacing the DC-15 with the E-11, while still being able to sell arms to civilians, which of course ended up supplying the rebellion with things like the DH-17 and the DL-44. This allowed the blaster manufacturer that dated back all the way to the Old Republic era to outlive the latest in a series of tyrants and keep selling arms into the New Republic era. And even though the New Republic's laws forbid the sales of arms to unrecognized governments, they were able to supply the First Order with their F-11D by creating the merger company San Blas with their once rivals Mersun Munitions, creating a company that on paper was completely separate and which operated in the unknown regions of space. So that's it for the story of how BlasTech became the main weapons provider for the Galactic Republic and Palpatine's Empire. If you want to connect with us, help support this channel, or get your own copies of the reference material used to make this video, be sure to check out the links in the description down below. Be sure to like and subscribe to see more content like this, and a special shout out to our supporters over on Patreon. But most important of all, remember, you can always bet on BlasTech, and the Force will be with you, always.